Orlando has beaches, theme parks, and a lot of quirky people. I want to show you everything that our wonderful city has to provide. I'm your host, Shannon Green, and welcome to The Bridge.
We live in a pretty diverse country, so church looks different in different parts of the country. But I think that in Florida, in the Bible Belt area, I might not be your typical pastor.
Oh, this is a good one. This one happened to me in 10th grade. See, I thought if I was a good boyfriend, my girlfriend would not cheat on me. Somebody need to pray for that brother right now. Pray for that brother.
At just 32 years old, JJ VASQUEZ is leading one of the fastest growing young churches in Central Florida.
Oh, what amazing love. 4 times. Was that 4 times?
Even while wearing ripped jeans and combat boots behind the pulpit.
He gave you water from the rock. He fed you with manna from the sky.
A rising number of millennials are leaving organized religion. But Pastor JJ is running full speed toward the church doors.
I definitely never wanted to do this. Like, I always loved being in ministry, and I've enjoyed it for a big portion of my life. But planning a church just seemed really hard to do. And we gave up a lot to do it. You know, we sold our home, cashed out our IRA, our 401k. I went without a salary, left my job. I was making 6 figures at a local college, writing the book, and we left it all to plant this church, and we don't regret a moment of it.
There is no shortage of churches in America, but there are more empty seats. In 2017, the Southern Baptist Convention reported a loss of at least 1 million members in the past decade. And unlike some of their parents, millennials are leaving organized religion behind in record numbers. Pastor JJ wants to change the perception of faith for his generation.
There's a lot of questions on doctrine nowadays. What are you against? We always try and shift those conversations. I think that the moment the church becomes known for what it's against, it loses its message. We ought to be known for what we're for.
His spiritual path started out like a lot of pastors. He grew up in the church, and his dad, Freddie, was his youth pastor. After high school, he attended seminary school. But his traditional path to the pulpit did not result in a very traditional church.
I just felt like there were enough churches building churches for church people. You have to put your preferences for music or style on the back burner. And so, you know, maybe you come to church, you know, dressed up in a suit and a tie, and that's cool. But maybe for the sake of reaching people, we're gonna come a little more laid back. Maybe, you know, we're not gonna ask people to come to the front for prayer because that might make them feel awkward because they've never been there before, and it's for them, not for us.
Journey Church has only been around for 2 years, but already averages about 600 attendees each Sunday. Most of the congregation is under 40 years old.
But his approach is reaching an audience beyond millennials and the Generation Z crowd. At 72 and 66, Tennessee natives David and Janelle Ray are among the oldest members at Pastor JJ's church.
They talk about 11 o'clock on Sunday morning being the most segregated hour in America. We've always been trying to find a church that's multicultural, multi-ethnic, and Journey is that. It's to me what heaven's going to look like, all kinds of people.
Do you think that lack of diversity that you talk about in other churches, could that be a reason why people have started to turn away?
The young people are much more aware that we live in a global world and we're not all the same, whether it's the language or how we look. And so I think having a church that is accepting to people who are different than yourself and knowing that God made every one of us.
The Rays say Pastor JJ's young church energizes them, and it takes a lot of energy to pull off this church. Pastor JJ does not own his own building yet. Setting up for church is a massive set production of sorts executed largely by volunteers called the Dream Team. Each Sunday, they wake up before dawn to make the space look more like a church than a high school in Winter Park.
This goes down or facing up?
Which way? Yeah, so I would say down, Reckless Love in G. And then we're gonna go to transition, prayer and praise with Jenny, I think.
Wait for it.
Take your hands and man heavy, yo.
Grateful on 5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
5, 1, 2, grateful.
His parents are also members of this team. Pastor JJ's father is the head of church security, and his mother oversees the children's church.
That she is going to say, Jesus healed me.
And in case you were wondering, they do call him pastor.
I feel privileged that, that he's not just my son, but that I can share him with the world, that I can share him with the people that need to be shared with, that need the help, that need to find God. I love it. I mean, I call him JJ, I call him my son, I kiss his ears, and I do all that still with him, and he's like, Mom, stop.
Leading a church at just 30 years old was hard, but naming the church was the hardest part. Pastor JJ and his wife Liz named the church after their youngest child, Journey. He died just hours after birth.
4 years ago, my wife and I lost a baby, and he was diagnosed early on. He didn't have any kidneys. He was supposed to die in utero, but he made it against all the doctors' expectations. And when he was born, he was alive for 7 hours. And we got to hold him, we got to sing songs to him. His grandparents got to meet him, his cousins got to meet him. And then we took him off the respirator 7 hours after being around and went back to Jesus.
Along with tattoos in remembrance of their son, the couple documented the painful experience in a blog. One commenter said the couple's story encouraged her to keep a baby she planned to abort.
Because our baby passed away, her baby's alive. And so I think for us, it's more of a celebration of the fact that God can take one of the darkest, most hopeless moments of your life and turn them into something that can bring hope to other people. So
I'm gonna take every disease, I'm gonna take every bout of poverty, I'm gonna take every bit of brokenness in me, I'm gonna take every prison cell, I'm gonna take every enemy, and I'm gonna put them in the pot, and I'm gonna cook something that's gonna bless my neighborhood, that's gonna bless my community.
While Christianity remains the dominant religion in America, more Americans, young and old, are ditching religious labels and pursuits altogether in favor of a more individual approach to spiritual connection. But Pastor JJ isn't worried about trends or studies. In fact, he's launching a youth leadership academy next year to train new pastors.
And I know some of you are 4 times my age or 3 times my age, but I kind of feel like a shepherd in your life in that sense. I want to protect you, make sure you're safe, and the best way I can do that is by reminding you. As leaders, every good thing about you is going to spread into others, which I'm excited about. But you also have to understand that every bad thing about you is going to spread into others too, which is why you got to be so careful with your face on Sundays and what we project to others, our joy and our peace and our passion, because that spreads. As a leader, we control that atmosphere.
Looking at the numbers and how less people are turning to organized religion, and even with the Christmas holiday, less people are looking at it as a religious holiday. What do you think the future of Christianity will be for your children based on what we're seeing today?
I think it's bright. You know, I see the numbers and I've seen the studies, but I don't see it in our church. If you come to our church on a Sunday, you'll look and it's a ton of young people. And so I know that it's real, and I know that's an issue, and I know that it's something that we're looking to minister to, but I really do feel that the future of Christianity is bright.